Hello, it's Nadine. I'm going to be talking about some of those additional tips and tricks when I came out to do additional support out at the elementary schools. If you were busy that day and you were unable to attend, or maybe you want to watch the video again because you forgot some of the tips that I shared that day, that's going to be the purpose of this video. All right, the first thing that I wanted to talk about is that teachers were saying that AirServer was kicking them off after about 2 minutes. I wanted to let you know that there is a solution for that so that you can make sure that it's not going to time out. Over here where it says Settings, I'm going to have you tap on that. As you scroll down on the General Settings, I want you to click where it says Auto Lock. So touch that. Your iPad is automatically set to a default of 2 minutes. Now what that means is that if you're in the middle of teaching your class and if you haven't touched that iPad in 2 minutes, then it's automatically going to go into your passcode. And what we've realized is that every time that it goes into the passcode, it actually shuts you off of AirServer. So what I told teachers to do was bump that up from 2 minutes to 15 minutes, okay? When you select it for 15 minutes, surely at some point in the 15 minutes you're going to be touching that iPad so it does not go into sleep mode where it's going to kick back into the passcode. We don't want you to select never because when you signed that iPad agreement, you said that you would always have a passcode on your iPad for security purposes. Okay? Many teachers are using their iPad to teach Reading Wonders or other popular websites. Why? Because they don't have to sit back behind their desk and be tied to the desk anymore. I wanted to show you, as I showed teachers when I came out, what do you do if you want to add a website link. I'm going to tap on Safari down here in the corner. So I'm going to tap on that. With many of the teachers, I was showing them how to add Connect Ed, and that is the site, where you get to your Reading Wonders. Okay, so once the website appears, then you're gonna tap on this where you've got the box with the up arrow. When that comes up, all you have to do is hit Add to Home Screen. It's going to ask you one more time, are you sure you want to add it? And so you're going to hit add again. And now you're going to notice a direct link to the ConnectEd site. All right. So if you're going to use it for teaching Reading Wonders, then when you launch the site and it goes into it, type in your username and password, and then your iPad will ask if you want it to save that information. So that way, every time that you teach Reading Wonders, you don't have to enter that information again. What I've heard teachers doing is they've been loving it so that they can walk around the classroom whenever they want to, interact with the kids as they're doing that instruction that is on their website. Also think about other websites that you use pretty often in your classroom too. I know some primary teachers told me that they use that ABC website. So again, if that's one that you use all the time, then go ahead and add a direct link to that site. You're not going to have to waste time with entering in what you need to get to when you're doing instruction. It's right there for you. Okay, the next tip that I wanted to share, teachers were asking, how do I make sure that when I'm using AirServer that I can have the iPad fill up my entire screen because they don't like having the desktop in the background. Up here at the top, and I'm using my mouse, I'm not actually on the iPad, so I'm using my mouse, and you're going to see where it says File, View, and Help. If you click on View, you can then select Full Screen. When you select full screen, then it is actually going to fill up the entire screen. So I did that, so you're going to notice that it got a little bit bigger. Now, whenever you want to get out of full screen mode, then just hit the Escape key on your keyboard and it will take you out of that. Okay? The next thing that I wanted to share with you, I had teachers asking questions about the sound. They said that they had difficulty with sound. That it would come out of the iPad, but it would not come out of the projector. So if you're having trouble with your sound, I actually opened up the Air Server program that's on the computer. Remember, it's that up arrow in the lower right-hand corner. And I know that there's different tabs up at the top here, but I want you to click on the Audio tab. Yours is automatically set to System Default. And what we're finding out is that that works for some people and not for others. If you are having issues with your sound, there should be another one listed that has like a T185 or some kind of random number. Go ahead and click on that and then click Apply and OK. And that should solve your problem and you shouldn't have any more issues with sound. Of course, if that doesn't resolve your issue, then please email Help Desk so they can have someone come out and take a look so that you can get your audio working correctly. I did want to tell you that I did stress to teachers as I went out to buildings that I want this to become a natural part of the beginning of your day. They were asking about, when should I access the QR code? And I said, when you come in the morning, your normal routine is that you log into the computer, you get to Infinite Campus, you do all those routine things, you log into your email. I said, I want this to become part of your routine where you open up Air Server every morning, and then you're going to click the Show QR code. You can go ahead and scan your iPad so that it could be able to be viewed up on the projector. And when you're done with the QR code, don't exit out, because then it makes you have to do the process all over again if you lose your iPad on the projector. Instead, I've told teachers to minimize, so hit the minus button, and then it's down in the lower left-hand corner of your desktop all day. If you need to access it again, then you're not going to have to reopen the entire program. So each day when I use it, I actually go ahead and minimize the other QR code, and then I X out of the actual program since I don't need it anymore. Okay, once I covered those tips, I then talked briefly with teachers about how to use 3 apps. I said if you are struggling with knowing where to start with using the iPad, I said here are my recommendations. So the first app that I talked to everybody about was using Stage Pro. It should automatically be loaded on your iPad already. If it's not, you don't see it anywhere on your iPad, some of you may need to go to the app portal that is on your iPad so that you can download it there. But again, if you don't see it, you can always email Help Desk and let them know so that we can make sure that it is on your iPad. What I love about Stage Pro, it's a great app because what it does is it is actually 2 apps in one. Okay? It is what I consider a document camera and also an interactive whiteboard in one. Now, I'm holding my iPad over a piece of paper. I want you to act like that if you're in the classroom and you see that on a lesson that you're doing that there is a student that has outstanding work and you want to share it with the class, instead of taking the time to have the student get up, walk up to the document camera, and lay it under there, you also have the option of using this app. Now, I know this is a little shaky, but if I select the camera button, it's going to take a photo of the work. Now I'm going to select the easel for my background, and I'm going to select my image. Okay, so now that I have selected my image, now I can use it as an interactive whiteboard. If I want to highlight different things that the student has done, I can draw on it, annotate it, highlight it. I could add text. I can add shapes, I can add all kinds of things to this actual document. Now, one thing that teachers have started doing is they're snapping a photo of a worksheet that students are doing in the classroom, and then they're starting to actually model how to do the worksheet with their class. But again, instead of having to stand by the document camera, they can walk around with their iPad and they can do it that way. If you don't have a stylus already, then I would recommend that you get one. They're very cheap. But get a stylus so that way you have something to actually write with. I also told teachers that, like how it has the large ruled paper, this would be great for teaching handwriting. I had a few teachers mention to me, it is great, but I wish that it had the little tiny blue lines. And I said, well, snap a photo of what it is that the kids are working on, and then you can annotate directly on it. Okay? So using the Stage Pro app is really good. The best thing about the Stage Pro app is that little red dot that's up at the top. You can actually record your voice of everything that you're doing as you're doing a lesson. So if you wanted to talk about a math concept that you did that day in class or a skill in reading, think about that student that was absent that day. You could record a snippet of the lesson. Especially math, I could easily see you modeling how to do a specific skill in math. And the kid wants to make sure that they're doing it correctly. The parent wants to make sure that the student is doing it correctly at home. This is a great feature because you just press the red button, it records. When it's done, it will take that and add it to your camera roll. It's very easy to add that video clip that you've created and send it out as an email to that parent, to someone specific that needs that additional help. So consider using the Stage Pro app. All right, the next app that I highlighted was the Quick Voice app. Here is the Quick Voice app, and I wanted you to see on here. It's very, very easy to use. And I had said to use this at teacher table for fluency whenever you're trying to capture those kids. I would really use it at teacher table with those students that are in the red zone, that they need, that constant progress monitoring. It's very easy to record. You just hit record. It'll start recording my voice. I can pause it if I need to, then stop. When it pops up and it says my recording, then I'm going to hit the little blue I, and when I hit that, then I can title it the student's name that I worked with. It should not be a full name, so let's say that I worked with Stephen, but I'm not going to put his last name. If I just need to put the last initial, that's just as fine. Okay? Then I have that as documentation of what I did with that student. So if you're ever in a conference or a meeting and you need to share information about that student, then you have all of those recordings at your fingertips. It has the date, it has the time of when you did it. Okay, so that's an easy app for you to begin using. All right. The last app that I mentioned to teachers was the Seesaw app. And the Seesaw app actually allows you to document basically a digital portfolio. Now, when I suggested to teachers if you want to use Seesaw, I was thinking about, let's say you need to get documentation about a student's work. And in the past, you would say, hey, Johnny, I need that paper. I'm going to make a photocopy of it and keep it in a file. Instead of having to do that, think about using Seesaw to help you out with documenting, student work or activities that you're doing in the classroom. It also has a parent app, so anytime that you add something, then you could share it with parents. But for those people that are just starting out, I suggest don't even share the parent app. Just get used to using Seesaw yourself and use it as, like an observation tool for you. Okay? All right, so those were the first round of tips that I suggested when I came out to buildings. If you watch this video and you have questions and you need to get in touch with me, that is not a problem at all. You know my email, you can get a hold of me, and I'll try to help you as best as I can.